Have you ever heard the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket? Well, it turns out that's a lesson one of the world's biggest economies might be learning the hard way. We're talking about China, and the basket we're referring to is filled with a staggering amount of American money, over $3 trillion worth. That's a 3 with 12 zeros after it. On the surface, it sounds like a sign of immense wealth, right? But what if I told you this mountain of money is actually a massive headache? A potential crisis that keeps policymakers in Beijing up at night. For decades, China's economic miracle was fueled by a simple, brilliant strategy: make things cheap and sell them to the world, especially to the United States. Every time you bought a product made in China, dollars flowed from American consumers to Chinese companies. These companies then exchanged those dollars for their local currency, the yuan, at China's central bank. This process left the central bank with a huge pile of US dollars. What do you do with all that cash? You can't just let it sit there. So like any smart investor, China put that money to work. The safest, most stable place to park trillions of dollars has always been US Treasury bonds. Essentially, China has been lending America money to buy its own goods. It was a perfect cycle that benefited both sides. America got affordable products, and China's economy boomed. But now, the tables are turning. This once perfect relationship is becoming a source of major anxiety for China. The very thing that made them rich, their massive holdings of US dollars and bonds, is now seen as a strategic vulnerability. Think of it this way: if you've lent a huge amount of money to someone, you're not just their creditor. You're also tied to their financial health. China is deeply tied to the health of the US economy. Any major trouble in America, like a recession or a debt crisis, would directly impact the value of China's investments. Their nest egg could shrink overnight. This dependence creates a serious dilemma. The first big fear is a potential US debt default. While it's highly unlikely, the mere political theater we've seen in Washington over raising the debt ceiling sends shivers down spines in Beijing. A US default, even a temporary one, would be catastrophic. It would cause chaos in global financial markets, and the value of US Treasury bonds, the core of China's reserves, would plummet. Suddenly, China's trillions wouldn't be worth nearly as much. They'd be holding on to assets that nobody wants. Then there's the power of the dollar itself. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. This gives the United States an incredible amount of geopolitical leverage, something experts call exorbitant privilege. The US can impose financial sanctions, freezing a country's dollar assets and effectively cutting them off from the global financial system. We saw this happen to Russia after the invasion of Ukraine, where hundreds of billions of dollars in foreign reserves were frozen. For China, this is a terrifying precedent. Imagine a future conflict or a major disagreement over an issue like Taiwan. Could the US and its allies do the same to China's $3 trillion? It's a powerful weapon that America holds, and China is acutely aware of its exposure. So why doesn't China just sell off all its US bonds and get out of this trap? It's not that simple. This is the core of the crisis. They're stuck. If China were to suddenly start dumping its US Treasury holdings, it would trigger a massive panic in the market. The price of those bonds would crash. This is like owning a huge mansion and trying to sell it in a small town. If you put it on the market all at once, you'd flood the town with supply, and the price you get would be far lower than what you think it's worth. By selling, China would be shooting itself in the foot, destroying the value of the very assets it's trying to get rid of. They hold so much that they can't sell without causing the price to collapse. It's a classic catch-22. This has forced China to start thinking about a long-term escape plan. They call it de-dollarization. The goal is to slowly, carefully reduce their dependence on the US dollar. One major strategy is to promote their own currency, the yuan, for international trade. For years, China has been setting up currency swap agreements with other countries, allowing them to trade directly in yuan instead of converting to dollars first. They're trying to convince major oil exporters, like Saudi Arabia, to accept yuan for oil payments. This would be a huge step, as the oil market is almost entirely priced in dollars, the so-called petrodollar system. Another key part of the plan is investing in real assets instead of paper ones. China has been on a global shopping spree, using its dollar reserves to buy things you can actually touch. They've been pouring money into infrastructure projects all over the world through their Belt and Road Initiative, building ports, railways, and power plants in Asia, Africa, and Latin America. They are also buying up mines and securing access to critical resources like lithium, cobalt, and copper, the building blocks of the future green economy. And of course, there's gold. Central banks have always loved gold, and China's central bank has been quietly but consistently adding to its gold reserves. Gold is seen as the ultimate safe haven asset, free from the control of any single government. But this transition is slow and incredibly difficult. The US dollar's dominance is not just a habit. It's built into the very plumbing of the global financial system. The markets for US Treasury bonds are the deepest and most liquid in the world. There is simply no other asset that can absorb trillions of dollars with the same level of safety and stability. The euro is a distant second, and the yuan is nowhere close to being a credible alternative yet. China's own financial markets are not open or trusted enough for the rest of the world to park their savings there. So China finds itself walking a tightrope. On one side is the risk of holding too many dollars and being vulnerable to US policy and politics. On the other side is the risk of selling too quickly and crashing the value of their own savings. They have to move slowly, diversifying their assets piece by piece, hoping to build a new system where the dollar is just one of many options, not the only one. This isn't just a financial story, it's a story about a major shift in global power. It's a slow-motion economic drama that will shape the relationship between the world's two largest economies for decades to come. China's $3 trillion problem is America's exorbitant privilege, and the quiet struggle over this financial dependence is one of the most important, yet underreported, stories of our time. What do you think? Is China right to be worried, or is this all just a theoretical problem? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you found this interesting, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into the global economy. See you next time.